Thanks for joining us on Crime Watch. I'm Ivy Kano. The huge pall of fear and uncertainty cast over residents of local town in Nasarawa State for years seems to have been rolled away with the arrest of a 5-man gang in connection with kidnapping and sundry crimes. The suspects who were arrested by the Civil Defense Corps are also allegedly responsible for the killing of a 70-year-old man, Issa Makama, in his home in December 2018.
In recent times, there has been a hike in crimes such as kidnapping, banditry, and robbery in Nasarawa State. One of the crimes that gained public attention in recent times was the murder of the traditional ruler of Odu by gunmen who invaded the community. But the tide may be turning and Nasarawa State may begin to count its gains in the fight against crime in the state. 6 members of a kidnap syndicate who have been terrorizing local town for several years have been arrested. Local is a town in Nasarawa local government area of Nasarawa State. These suspects were allegedly responsible for the death of Issa Makama, the 70-year-old father of a lecturer with the Nasarawa State University, Kefi. They allegedly invaded the home of Mr. Issa sometimes in December 2018 and killed him in the full glare of his family, who watched on helplessly. The suspects also abducted the wife and daughter of the deceased and demanded for a ransom of 600,000 naira.
Akun district.
Usman Makama is a lecturer with the Nasarawa State University and a son of the deceased. He has not gotten over the trauma the kidnappers put his family through.
Suspected kidnappers or no gunmen, they just walked into my father's compound and they kidnapped my mom and my sister. After kidnapping my mom, after some series of torture with my mom, that is close to my father's window, and my father is feeling bad, he can't bear the pains. He now came out to see whether he can rescue them. In the process, they now follow my dad to his room and shot him to death.
Issa Makama is not the only victim of these suspects. The suspects allegedly abducted and murdered several other indigenes of local community. Their luck finally ran out and they are in the custody of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in Nasarawa State.
We arrested 6 suspected criminals who are terrorizing not only local area, but we can say Nasarawa State as a whole. To our surprise, the people you are seeing here, they confess killing countless number of innocent people in this state, which include but not limited to a father of a Nasarawa State University doctor from accounting department.
The suspects would be prosecuted in a court of law to serve as a deterrent to those in the business of kidnapping.
Borno State has remained in the spotlight for years due to the persistence of terrorist activities in most of its major towns. Now, several villages and military posts have been sacked, while thousands have been killed with millions displaced. Police authorities say they have in their custody a 40-year-old man whom they suspect have been supplying logistics to Boko Haram insurgents.
Borno State has suffered many years of insurgency, with many people killed and thousands displaced from their ancestral homes. While security agencies battle to restore peace to the state, other forms of crimes are also being committed across the state. But the Borno State Police Command is working round the clock to curb the menace. It has yielded results with several arrests met by the command.
One Alhaji Goni Malom Muti of Mona Asheri area of Meduguri was arrested by the police for being a member of the Boko Haram terrorist group. The suspect confessed that he was saddled with the responsibility of supplying essentials and other logistics to the sect.
These suspects were arrested for kidnapping, culpable homicide, armed robbery and acts of terrorism.
As far as Borno State Police Command, under the leadership of CP Mohammed Ndatsu Aliyu is concerned, we are so much committed to fighting crime and making sure we reduce it to the barest minimum. Every day that we wake up from sleep, every moment of the day, our purpose is to make sure that we render the public space safe for people to do their businesses and live their normal lives. We are so much committed to it, And that's what we intend to do, because that's the work we have been employed to do.
Some of the suspects who spoke to TVC News confessed to their crimes.
We are 4 in number, but the 3 people, they are innocent. I'm the only person to pick the car. So I'm a student. I just want to pay my school fees of school. That's why. This is the first and last. By God's grace, I've already tried everything.
The command assures that all the suspects are to be prosecuted after all preliminary investigations are completed. The Borno State Police Command says it will not relent in its efforts until law and order is being maintained in the state.
The global community may still be grappling with the virus pandemic, but many countries have already begun slowly reactivating their economies after months of lockdown. No fewer than 700,000 persons have died. Businesses have been grounded, and experts are projecting a spike in crime rates ranging from kidnapping to armed robbery and other social vices. What perhaps only few persons factored in was suicide. But just how much damage has the virus caused? Let's find out when we return. It's been 2 months after news broke of how a young banker, Kelvin Rima, committed suicide in the Oba area of Lagos. He had dropped a suicide note enumerating how he lost his job and decided to give up on life. But good news, another attempt at giving up on life was stopped by the police in Lagos as the watchful eyes of officers stationed on the 3rd Mainland Bridge prevented Abiodun Adeyinka from jumping into the lagoon over an unpaid loan from a mortgage bank. Now, police say a total of 8 suicide attempts have been filed in the state in the last 2 months. According to the police, on 31st of July, police operatives deployed to the 3rd Mainland Bridge intercepted one Adeyinka Abiodun. He attempted to jump into the lagoon over an unpaid loan from a mortgage bank. The Commissioner of Police was on his way to see the governor when he received the report about the suicide attempt. So he told him about it, and the governor promised to offset the loan. Now the 45-year-old victim, accompanied by the bank managers, his father and others, are here to receive the $500,000 naira donated by the governor.
It's not deliberate that I want to kill myself, but I was frustrated.
Overtaken by emotions, he thanked the governor for this kind gesture and said he regrets his action.
It's because of due to ignorance. I've never took a loan in my life. This is my first time. And everything worked against me. Everything worked against me. It's not deliberate that I want to kill myself, but I was frustrated. I solicited for assistance from reputable person in Lagos, but they denied me the access to see them. And eventually I said, what is the option? Because depression has came into my life and I have nobody to share with. And there's no way I can do this. I said, it's better I jump into this river so that whoever that see me and with my luggage and whatever I'm holding, if probably the police see this, they were able to trace my family and get me rescued. But unfortunately, when I was making this attempt, I didn't know the police were in front. From dress, I was attempting to jump. I prayed to God, that's God. If this is intentional, you should put me in the fire. But if this is not intentional, you should put me in paradise. Immediately I bent down my head. Those police, there's a Yoruba man among them. I didn't know whether he knew I'm a Yoruba person. Just, Machibe, don't read along. And I stopped. I didn't know whether God also touched me that you shouldn't kill yourself. You still have fever ahead. And that's why and I told them, it's because of the depression. It's not mine. I've been helping people, but people refuse to help me when it comes to my own time. I pay school fees for children who their parents can afford when I was a little bit richer. But when situation of this came up, I was depressed. I was depressed. That was what brought about all this of a suicide attempt.
Our bank gave 3-month grace to everybody after pandemic to pay back, and is also a beneficiary.
The Commissioner of Police said Nigerians must know that suicide is not the best way.
He decided to kill himself. So because he was owing a microfinance bank, that he borrowed money from microfinance bank, So every totaling 500,000 naira. And he's a graduate from one of the southwestern states now. So even a master degree holder that he lost his job, and thereafter he decided now to borrow money now and go into private business. Eventually, unfortunately, that we call it collapsed. So now the microfinance bank is on him. So he doesn't have that one. He's calling owing maybe house rent. And though he said the landlord is not disturbing him. So he now decided to go and commit suicide so he can get out of all this. So you now ask him, do you know that attempt to commit suicide is a criminal offense? That Kafir said does not know what he wants to do just to kill himself. I think that's the one wife and the 2 children of this. So with that one, unfortunately, I was on my way now to say, Mr. Governor. So instantly, I told Mr. Governor, as I was coming to this place now, this is what will happen now. So the man has pity for him, and instantly he gave me the 500,000. So to give to him now to go and give to the microfinance bank. But I need to sign a note of warning on this, because you know Nigerians, we are fast thinker and catching on something. Some may want to do that one now, say let me go and attempt to commit suicide so that Mr. Governor can do this. Once it's investigated, there's no generosity to that one now. So even for lying on that is a criminal offense. Attempt to do the government is a criminal offense. Even attempt to commit suicide itself is a criminal offense. So that's section 327 of the criminal code. So it's an offense for anybody to make attempt to commit suicide at all. So whatever it is now, committing suicide is not the solution to it.
He promised adequate security for all residents of the state. Now, though the state governor has given money for him to offset his loan, the police are still going to charge him for attempted suicide. This, they say, is to serve as a warning to others who will want to do the same. I had a chat with Chinyere Okonkwo, a clinical psychologist at the Psychiatrist Hospital, Yaba. She says the act of suicide is not always spontaneous. Many victims often leave a trail before the actual act.
There is no doubt that COVID-19 came with a lot of things, you know, depending on which side you are standing to look at it. Okay, so the issue of suicide, crime, or other things, of course, for sure, is on the increase. I'm sure we would have read or seen a lot of things that would convince us that really these are on the increase. Now, for suicide, I've actually seen, I won't say more than before, but good number of people who either had the idea or even made the attempt. I have seen people that made the attempt. And why? The only thing they readily tell you is, I'm not sure I can cope. It is a lot on me. I can't deal with this. Some people is feeling of boredom, hopelessness, you know, looking front, looking back, nowhere to fall on. And it's like, so what is left? It's better I go now that I'm still relevant in the eyes of people than when I'm completely without anything. Okay, so the pressure or the psychological pressure that people have experienced as a result of this lockdown, you know, is one thing, and a lot of work is going on in that anyway, because many people try to cope with it using substance. Okay, I do a lot of work in substance abuse field, and so we see increase in the use of different types of substance as a way of coping. So for somebody to commit or want to commit suicide, it doesn't just happen at a time. It's not a one-off thing. There are signs. There are things that you observe from the individual. There are things that are like cues that you want to be very attentive to. So what I will really say is people should pay attention to those around them. Observe them. Know when there are changes. Know when things seem to be odd, you know, especially when you compare with how that person used to be. That worker that wrote suicide note and committed suicide, he did not just wake up, write the note and commit. He planned. He took deliberate steps. The only thing is that most times you don't get to we are bothered with our own worries anyway, so we don't get to pay attention to what is happening to the person by the side. Okay, there would have been things, some statements he would have maybe even withdrawn, be more withdrawn than before. He would have tried to settle a few things outstanding, you know. He would have said few words that will connote finality. Okay, there are little things like that. One of the risk factors, okay, for suicide is former attempt or previous attempt rather. So somebody who has tried at all could try again. So if somebody has tried and failed, the best thing to do is to let that person seek help, professional help, because that thing that pushed him to try could reoccur. Secondly, the person may tell you that, oh, it's okay, I am okay now, I'm not sure I don't want to do it again, I'm happy I didn't succeed. But he may actually want you to shift your attention. Then he will have another strategy. So when such a thing happens, going to a professional will require that the professional will do thorough suicide assessment, knowing whether there is another intentionality, whether the person actually meant to commit suicide or it's attention seeking. You want to establish a lot of things before you will rule out the possibility of another trial. But once a person has tried before, the tendency is that the person will try again. So the person will need to go through treatment. But the most important thing I will say is that suicide is not an automatic act. People take steps. There are little things they do. People should open their eyes more and observe and ask questions. If people are doing things that you think they will make some comments that will connote finality, so heaven may be very interesting. I don't know. No, sometimes I love this music that sounds as if one is with the angels, and I imagine how that will be. You know, some talks that you will know, where is that talk coming from now? You know, so we should be more attentive, you know, to people, sensitive to needs. Even if you don't have to give, you must not have anything to give before you show support. You don't have to solve somebody's problem, but showing that you are there for the person goes a long way in helping them to feel relief.
Now let's bring you some other crime news.
The police in Delta State has arrested a fake major in the army who was conveying 420 packs of cannabis in a vehicle branded in the color of the Nigerian army with an army plate number. Parading the 44-year-old suspect, the commissioner of police said his men on security patrol apprehended the suspect in Sapele. The father of 5 admits he has been in the business of conveying cannabis for 6 years and reveals how he got the army uniform and plate number of the vehicle.
He's a fake Nigerian army major. How he came about the uniform, how he rebranded the vehicle into Nigerian army color with Nigerian army inscription and genuine Nigerian army number. We subjected him to investigation. And these are the packs of over 420 wraps or packets of suspected Indian hemp. Such person can go a long way in denting the image of the Nigerian army. You see, we know our Nigerian army is a very well-revered institution, but people like this, who are criminally minded, are coming to tarnish the image.
People from my side, they are majorly involved in this kind of business, Indian hemp, drugs. So I couldn't get the job, so I just had to fit in, find a way to fit in. I bought the car. It was ash in color. But since this COVID something came about, the security on the road became so intense. All state borders were closed. So and I needed to pass. So I just had to change the color to army color. I went to the barracks and I employed one of the soldiers there. Please, you are in so place. Can you help me get an army number so that I'll use it for business? So he lose one of the numbers from one of the abandoned trucks in their S&T there and gave it to me. I paid him.
Some perpetrators of the recent killings and attacks in southern Kaduna have been arrested by troops of Operation Safe Haven. The 8 suspects were paraded before journalists by the Special Task Force, and they will be handed over to the police for further investigation and prosecution. Items recovered from them include a locally fabricated pump-action gun, 2 locally made pistols, 1 9mm ammunition, 2 mobile phones and a dagger. Hundreds of people, including women and children, have reportedly been killed and properties destroyed in southern Kaduna between June and August. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibadan Zonal Office, has arrested 32 suspected internet fraudsters, popularly referred to as Yahoo Boys. The suspects were apprehended during a raid on their hideout in Ogbomosho. 3 of the suspects claim to be serving members of the National Youth Service Corps, the NYSC. 19 are undergraduates, while 10 others say they are involved in other vocations. At the point of their arrest, 12 exotic cars, several phones, laptops, and some incriminating documents were recovered from them. They would be charged to court as soon as the investigations are concluded. Rape is one of the fastest rising violent crimes in Nigeria. Here are some tips to prevent rape. Avoid unsafe situations and strangers. If you are being followed, go to the nearest police station or any place with several people. Avoid walking alone. Walk with someone in areas where other people are near. Stay away from dark alleys, bushes, and entryways. Flee if you are in a potentially dangerous situation. Yell or scream to attract attention. You can carry a whistle that will make a loud noise. Engage in passive resistance by talking your way out of the situation, or active resistance by reacting to startle your attacker. Don't allow a stranger inside your home use the telephone. Leave the outside lights on at night and in more than one room.
And that's our program today. Thanks for watching. You can send in eyewitness pictures and videos to our email address and social media handles. It's coming up on your screen now. I'm Ivy Kano. I'll be back same time next week. Do have a crime-free week.